if maybe there is a fully fledged type of altcoin season during this cycle, even though nothing I say is financial advice, there's going to be three different scenarios that I do want to take a look at when it comes to Arcblock's native token called ABT. Now, what is the first one I want to take a look at? That is maybe the idea of $20. That is around a 28.5x from here. Market cap at that point would be nearly 2 billion. Why wouldn't that maybe surprise me? It's because I find that the fundamentals of Arcblock to me are not that bad. And let me explain why I view it that way. Like, for instance, Arcblock, we take a look at its goal, right? It's quite essentially trying to simplify the process of decentralized application and blockchain development. And I think it's only logical for me to kind of somewhat maybe be excited for this, I think mentally, because if I just kind of think that this space is going to grow moving forward, which I maybe do believe it will do that, but only time will tell, I would naturally assume that there's going to probably be more applications and blockchains. So if there's a project that could quite essentially help simplify that process, why would I not find that a little bit interesting? Now, I'm not telling them to do anything, but then this is just the way I take a look at the project overall. But even besides that point, the core of Arcblock is reusable and composable software components, which in this case are called blocklets. Now, any component or application on Arcblock is a blocklet or composed of a blocklet. But even besides that, applications on Arcblock can support almost any mainstream blockchain service, including something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Now, of course, there's more, but I'm just, kind of highlighting a few there. But also, we take a look at how Arcblock even has an AI kit, and I think this makes it a little bit interesting because it quite essentially enables any application to have AI capabilities. And I do like this because typically when I talk about Arcblock to my friends, they don't really think about it having a little bit of an aspect of AI, but then again, through this, arguably, I think it does. And I think it's pretty cool because the AI market is expected to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. So I find that pretty cool and pretty interesting. Maybe Arcblock might not be number one in that aspect, but again, just having an aspect of that, I think, makes it pretty cool and pretty interesting to me. But even besides that point, Arcblock is also focused on decentralized identity. Now, this right here is not really a market that sometimes a lot of my friends care about, but I think it's still pretty impressive nonetheless because the decentralized identity market is expected to be worth over $100 billion by 2030, yet again, according to Grandview Research. I like the project's fundamentals and maybe ABT, its native token, at the price of $20. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me if it were to happen maybe during a fully fledged type of altcoin season. Now, the second scenario I want to take a look at is $23. That's nearly a 33x from here, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be nearly 2.3 billion. Now, we've seen like Dogecoin pretty much 40x this, right? 40 times this market cap back in 2021. I'm not saying it's going to be more popular than that, but then it just seems like this is kind of like not such an outlandish market cap, at least in my perspective. But again, this is just my mindset when it comes to this. Now, the third and final price scenario I want to take a look at is maybe $25. That would be around a 35.7x from here, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be nearly 2.5 billion. Now, the way you take a look at it is this. Why wouldn't this surprise me? It's because, allegedly, if we have over 600 million crypto owners currently, which supposedly we do, and that's supposedly more than ever before in history, if let's say we did see a fully fledged altcoin season during this cycle, why would I think it's bad? At least that's the way you take a look at it. But even besides that, even when I take a look back in time, like in 2021 during the peak of that bull run, there was around 300 million crypto owners, and that was like during the peak again. Now we basically have double, and I don't think we've ever even seen like a fully fledged altcoin season during this cycle. So to me, if let's say we did see one, ABT go into the price of $25 wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but again, only time will tell. Now, when it comes to the timeline, personally for me, all I can do is just take a look at the past and the present. That's the way to take a look at it. But in this case, I'm going to take a look at the past. Historically, altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event. So if we just, let's say, add a year and a half from the last Bitcoin halving event, it would actually mean October this year because the last one happened in April of 2024. So again, last year. But then to me, it's necessarily not going to be this exact thing, right? Because it may be different. Like each cycle is going to have different factors going on. So, I mean, it could very well happen in November if it ever even does, or December, or Q1 of next year. I mean, again, right? It's only time will tell type of scenario. But whenever that timeline maybe does happen, if it ever even does, to me, I just want to stay patient by just dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. And that's it, because I'm preparing. I'm not trying to find the perfect moment. I'm just preparing for a moment, if that makes sense. So again, just staying patient, just holding, and just waiting, and that's it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Greatly appreciated. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.